Hey, welcome back. Let's make a tree topper today. We're going to use a couple of things. Most of what we're using is from Hobby Lobby. So this definitely came from Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to fluff that out just a little bit. And we're going to take our ball ornament pick. I'm just going to start layering them right on top of each other. So I'm going to take one on top of the next. Put the long ones in the back, one on top of the next. I'm going to take another longer pick, which is about the same length or height as the gingerbread ball pick. I'm going to kind of weave that in just a little bit. Weave it in just a little bit. So it all starts to blend and become one. I might move this one over a little bit here so it is on each side. So we have one of those big candies on each side. And then I might take one of these longer picks. So the idea is this to be able to sell it, ship it and sell it, right? So that your customer can get you can get the designer look and feel of all the picks and sprays in a kind of big topper on the top of their tree without putting individual picks in. Now, personally, I think it looks better when you do the individual picks, but let's go ahead and put that, since it's so big, let's go ahead and put that in the back and we can kind of weave that up in. We can kind of weave it up in this way. There we go. Now, you see, when I sell them and ship them, obviously it's got to lay flat. Okay, it's got to lay flat. But when you let go, these are going to kind of move a little bit, which will come around the tree a little bit. If you're making these for home and you're putting them in individually, just like this, you're going to want 2 or 3 of them. That's why it's best if you're putting them in individually, because you can put all these picks in individually, slide it through the top of your tree and get a very different look. This is if you're shipping it and you're helping your customer, you're giving them a different look. Okay, we're going to come in with some gingerbreads, of course, some gingerbreads. I'm going to move them around. Kind of make them, they're going to go right in the center here. And we'll just move them so that they are kind of in where we wanted them to go, just like that. Okay. Perfect. Let's get this. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to come in and start building the front a little bit. Just going to take another one of these. It's a little bit smaller. I'm going to layer it right in the center. Okay. And then let's get a nice big candy. Nice big candy. Kind of put it right up over here. I'm going to bend that a little bit so it'll still come in my hand where I need it to. Now, I love this look. I love that look. Really cute. However, from the back, I like to see like a stop, right? A stop in the back. Right now, I'm going to see right through. I'll see right through the wall, right to the tree. I'll see right through the whole thing. And so I personally like to see like a fan back there, kind of something to help us out and stop our eye. So I'm going to take 3 of these and spread them apart. Just like that. Actually, I'm going to go this way, maybe up a little bit more like this to go on one side. And then this one will do kind of like this to go on this side. That one will go right up the center. Okay, so it's going to go a little bit like this. So we'll hold it still. I'm going to take one to the back, right over here. One to this back, right over here. and then one to the center. Still have enough in my little hand here where it's hold on to everything. And then, even though it looks beautiful with that white in the back, I like to see a little bit of color. So the white you might not notice. The white, well, against your green tree you'll see it, but I like to have a little bit of the color back there as well, stopping us. So let's just go ahead and add in some of the berries, just a little bit. Grab that right where I had it. And we can move them and shift them once it's all together. Do the same thing, kind of shift it where it's off to the side. Don't worry, it's not going to stay like that. And then right up in the back. Okay, so now we have these great big long stems. And I'm going to take, let's get a couple of really sturdy zip ties. Now, there's no glue in this, which is nice. If your customer wants to take that apart and put them in individually, they're like, this isn't for me. What I like to do or offer is a tree topper such as this, but then also a matching bow. So we're going to put a bow on the front of this. And then also if we offer a matching bow, it could act as a filler for the back. Okay, for the back, so that the customer doesn't see like, emptiness in the back of the tree. So now we have all one, but we do have some that are not in too much. So we're going to make sure that gets secured. And we're just going to go with real small, tiny, clear zip ties along the way. And once it's all zip tied in, then we'll move things around and shift things and fluff it out a little bit better so that it has a fuller look. That's in there pretty good. That's in there pretty good. I'm still going to just zip tie that together maybe. Or I'm just going to do this one. I don't want too many of the big stems to be clumped. I want them to be able to move individually, which is important. And then, of course, we'll do a couple more of the Now these zip ties are kind of nice because they lay flat. They lay flat. There's not like a nub that sticks out when you're done, which is nice. Okay. Oops. And there's a difference between the zip ties I'm taking. Some of them are like really cheapy zip ties that I might use for the back that are not gonna, they have a good hold, don't get me wrong, but they're just, some of them are better than others, right? So I'm gonna make sure around the stem I get some really good ones. Okay. And then we're really long here. We don't necessarily need to be that long. So I'm just gonna cut off a little bit of extra that we don't need. I do like to be long. I'll show you how I clean that up and make it a little more presentable, of course, and a lot easier to hide. And then from here, I'm just going to move these around back here to kind of weave them in. You could do it either way. You could put the white first and then weave in the red like we are. You can put in the red first and weave in the white. Either way, whatever your preference is, totally up to you. So I just don't want to see a wall of white and a wall of red. I just kind of mix them in together. So you're seeing a little bit of both. Okay. Perfect. Really pretty, just like that. And then we're going to make, ooh, that came down. That wasn't good. Clearly we don't want that. We don't want them to slide down like that for sure. All right, so we're gonna make a bow next. I'm gonna set this aside. We're gonna make our bow. Nice, big, gigantic bow. I do use a bow maker. For those of you who are watching who have never seen me before, I have a super bad carpal tunnel. Let me put this over here. So it's a little easier for me to use the bow maker rather than hold everything in my hand. So we're going to go with 7.5 inches and a nice 20-inch long tail and 20-inch long tail and 7.5-inch loops. So great big gigantic loops here. And we're going to put two tails. One's going to be short, one's going to be long. And the short tail is going to kind of go up into the tree topper, and the long tail is going to come down. So what I really noticed, what I loved, was that I love the tails, of course, but the more ribbons, which we're not going to put too many ribbons in this one, but the more ribbons I put into the bow, the more those ribbons came down and really just got on my nerves, covering up all the design that I have in my tree, right? So I decided one short one going up, one short one, or one long one coming down is plenty for what we're using or for what we want. Also, I'm going to use a 2.5 inch and then some 1.5 inch. I'm sorry, 1 inch. These are 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch. And so it's a little bit different than what I normally do. But this turned out super duper cute, so we're just going to go with that. I made a couple of these already and sold them, so they definitely are a popular piece. And again, it's nice when you can make a matching bow to go with it and sell it for, or sell it as a bundle for the back. Now the bow that goes in the back doesn't have to be the exact same, but it's nice if it definitely coordinates and looks very similar, right? Love, and I love the 2.5 inch along with the 1 inch. Just really cute, a little different there. Something, just something different, And these are going to be just a little bit, so I made this one about 1 inch shorter. And then these are going to be close to about the same size. So depending on where you put your tree, like if you have it in the corner, that's going to depend on whether you want to add something in the back. Personally, it might drive some people nuts, but I have mine, you can see my tree from about 3 different spots in my house, 3 different angles. So I like to have something going all the way around. Again, me personally, I put individual picks in. I would probably use 3 of each of these. I would probably put them in exactly the way I did here. I'd put which one did we put first? The twirly thing was in the back, I think. I can't remember which one we put first already. But I would put them in the tree just as if, just as we put them together. And you wouldn't secure them if you're putting them in individually. You're putting the picks in. You just use your tree as a holder. Actually, I do have one secret that I use. I think I talked about it in my holiday tree decorating classes. It is a top secret that I use to help me with all of our picks that we put in. But if you're making these for a customer, you're sending them, you're shipping, you're sending these, this is perfect, okay? This is absolutely perfect. Easy for your customer to install, all that sort of thing. And we don't need a great big gigantic zip tie for this little guy. We're just going to take him off of here. Squish nice and tight. Push, push, push. Add my zip tie to the front so that it is secure. The last thing you want is for your customer to, you know, be playing with it or try to take it apart, or they're trying to, you know, just maybe they want to just take the bow off. They want to swap out the bow. If you have it, if you don't have it zip tied, then it could come apart, and they could, you know, they could be like, wait a second, I didn't want that to come apart, the whole bow. Okay, so now we're going to take this and add it right to the top or right up here. We'll trim this part as we go along, but we're going to put this right up to the top. And I'm going to do that with a zip tie. I'm going to zip tie right around here. And then we're going to finish off the stem so it does not look like this. Of course, I don't want your customer to get their tree topper and have this ugly white stem to work with. So we want to make sure that we make that nice and pretty. Just going to take this and zip tie it right to the top first. This little tool, I'll link it in the description. It is a handy dandy tool for me, again with my carpal tunnel. Very helpful to tie that or tighten it and cut it all at the same time. Okay, so we're going to have our loops come down, straight down. All of our long loops come straight down. All of our tails come straight down. Our loops are going to go out to the side. Our short tails are going to go up, and we will cut those in just a moment. So obviously I don't want to cover all of our, you know, pretty stuff here, but the mechanics of this tree topper kind of come up right up that center. And so this is just a nice little way, decorative way to hide those and be cutesy there. Love, love, love. Okay, so now from underneath, we'll start. I'll show you from underneath. I'll have to obviously redo that bow. I'm going to take this green garland. I get this at Hobby Lobby as well. I'm going to take this green garland and come right up underneath. Now, before you are like, well, we should have did this before the bow. Yes, yes, yes. However, I like to get the bow placed. And then, because, you know, this, I mean, I guess we're just talking about a couple of inches, but this stuff, you know, kind of goes, especially the way we're going to create it or use it. So I want to use the least amount of as possible. So I'm just going to take it from the top and nice and tight, just wrap it around. So the zip ties are there, obviously, to help us stay nice and tight, but this is where I really, really get it. And make sure all the way down it stays. Just so that in the end, we have a really pretty finished looking piece where the white will not be seen, so they can hide it in their tree super easy. My lace shirt probably isn't the best thing to be using right now, or wearing. This will keep it nice and sturdy. Now, if it doesn't cover every single solitary teeny tiny little inch, I'm also okay with that. But just to make it look a lot more professional than what we had going on in the beginning. Easy to hide right down the trunk of their stem, trunk of their tree. So what they'll do is they'll slide this in the front of their tree or wherever they want it, you know, to be seen from the most. Okay, and they will secure with what we have, what we're going to give them to secure with. They'll secure their stem topper to the tree using the 2 long pieces that we have for them. And we do want to make sure to the best of our ability, that those zip tie heads, the parts that are like, you know, pokey, we want to make sure that those are secured and hidden. Okay. All right. So then I have 2 long parts that they can use to tie to their tree. I like one to be a lot longer on purpose to kind of pull through so they can get it easily, and so that it can kind of be sticking out. So let's say it gets around the tree and it's like this. That's good because then it's easy to find when it's time to take the tree down, right? And they don't have to snip it, which we don't want them to do. So if it's longer on, you know, it's easier for them to get to. So just real clean look here. Again, we'll have to make that pretty again, but super duper cute, nice and full, absolutely darling for the front of their tree or of your tree. Now, if you wanted longer, you know, for yourself, that's fine. If you want to add an option to your listing, have longer tails or more tails or more bows, you can totally do that. But for now, I love how this turned out. Super duper cute. I hope this was inspiring. I can't wait to see all of yours. Again, I had 2 of these sell already, so they are a thing. They are a thing. Well, 2 of these sell of this exact one. I should say that. I think I've sold. I don't know how many I've sold. I do know I have a lot that I need to still list. I know that. But I totally love how this turned out. Really, really cute. And you can just mix it all together. Get them in there. Really sweet. Different textures. Some wispy, some ornament style. Just really, really cute. Again, this is Melissa from Sincerely Creative Mom, bringing to you tree toppers. Really simple. Just slide this along the trunk of your tree. Also, you see, so in my personal opinion, I like if the tree, you know how sometimes you have that one branch, that one stem that sticks all the way up the top of your tree. I love if that branch come all the way up here. So this is kind of sitting in the actual trunk. It's not at the very top. It's not just wibbly wobbly at the very top and it doesn't have any, you know, anything to hold on to. This is going on to like the trunk of that tree. And so you have one long stem kind of really sticking up. I'm actually trying to look. Here we go. This is not good. This is not a good example, but here's what I mean. Like if the very tip of that stem tree came all the way up, and this just slid down. So what I do is I take the tree and I part it. I part it so that that trunk can come slide right down, right? And then I can get it down, snuggle it in as far as I can so that like here's the tip of your tree, right? The very tip. And that this stem comes all the way down the front of it. And then you can just kind of move your branches around and make it all look pretty. Hope this was helpful. Again, it's Melissa from Sincerely Creative Mom. I hope you are following and subscribed. I hope you get our alerts for when we go live on Facebook. If not, make sure you get yourself signed up. It's free for the alerts. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.